Welcome in, everybody. Let's get started. Los, you're muted right now.
Trying to pin my thing real quick, just so I can see it through the phone. I don't know how to do. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now I see it. Um, and so I think I'll basically be breaking down like a step by step. Like I'll start off with like one section, and then just so people can in case they have any kind of questions, I'll stop like after a certain section, like maybe for example like the back, and then you can kind of read off any questions that people had.
Uh,
But let's get started then.
let's go.
Is it recording?
Yep. 40 people in here. Let's go.
Let's get it.
Draw tools and draw your guidelines.
All right, guys. So I'm gonna be doing a blowout taper, and basically the goal is to create a round shape around the whole head. So the goal is to also keep a good amount of volume. We want the hair to lift up, like poof up, look a little fuller, and really not lay flat. So I want to definitely bring out the texture. And by that, I also am going to remove some weight carefully so that the hair can move better, but not lose too much structure. Overall, though, to begin the cut, I'm going to be starting in the back. Why? Because the crown to me controls pretty much the whole cut. If I cut the crown way too short, it's going to completely mess up the weight and or the length that I'm going to be going on with the sides. So anything that goes from the back into the sides, if I cut it too short, it's just gonna leave everything too short. I'm not really gonna be able to tell if I'll even have enough movement for the sides. So it'll just completely throw off my cut. And I want to make sure I have enough length in the back when going into the sides. So overall, the back just tells you how long or short you can leave everything else. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna begin by wetting his hair. And I want to get it really, really soaked up.
Chris asked, what fade are you going to do on him?
I'm gonna be doing a mid taper.
So, Los, what kind of hair texture does he have? Is his hair more thick? Is it more thinner?
His hair is really thick, bro. Really, really thick. So it's really coarse and it's pretty straight too. It's not as wavy, but that's where we're gonna bring it out with removing some weight and then adding some product to really bring out, more texture and make it flow better. Don't be afraid to like literally drench your client in water. The more wet you have the hair, the better it is to section everything. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna separate the back here from the sides and the top. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna begin right here where the head begins to round off. And don't overthink it, guys. I'm gonna use the tooth of my comb here, right around here, and I'm gonna push that tooth down all the way right here down behind the ear. And when I'm combing a section out, guys, I'm flattening the comb nice and tight against the scalp to really just have everything clean and organized. Don't be afraid to put a good amount of pressure. Staying organized and clean will definitely make it less overwhelming for you to cut when when you're doing the scissor work. I'm going to be doing the same thing to the other side.
Inadino asked, when it comes to your thinning shears, does it really matter the brand?
No, not really. There's some that are really cheap and they still last you a good 4 or 5 months until they start getting dull. But don't get caught up into buying expensive stuff. There's really stuff out there for a good amount of like a good price that will definitely work. I've only I've never spent more than like 30 to 40 bucks on thinning shears. These are from Amazon. and they're called Kinzaro. You can get these for like I think 39.99 or 49.99. But they've lasted me over a year now, and I haven't sharpened them and I haven't bought any new ones yet. So now, guys, once I've separated the back from everything else, I'm gonna take vertical sections starting from the crown all the way down. So just so you guys could see a little better. There.
How do you use the thinning shears without making a light spot?
I'll get into that when I'm fading,
Yep.
so you guys can see. So I'm gonna begin by creating a vertical section like this. And now a lot of you, when I see a lot of people when they're combing and they're wanting the section with the comb, if you kind of tilt your comb a little bit, you won't grab as much hair. So it makes it easier for you to suction. And again, guys, full pressure. I'm just separating everything nice and clean. And I'm making sure I'm not making my section way too thick, way too, I only want to be able to grab as much hair that I can manage. So now when I'm looking at this, I really don't care much about what I cut down here. I only care about the shape that I'm creating about from the crown to the occipital bone. So now so I could show you guys from the side, what I said in the beginning is my goal is to create a round shape. Why a round shape? Because I want the hair to poof up. I don't want the hair too heavy. So when the hair is too heavy, it's not going to be able to poof up. It's not going to be able to lift up and give that volume, that textured look. So what I'm going to do here is I'm grabbing the hair straight out, parallel to the head shape. Comb goes under, my fingers follow underneath, creating that tension, and I'm pulling straight out. What I'm looking at is ideally, I'm looking at the length. What length would be proper to just still have enough for it to poof up, but also be long enough to, to still be able to flow into the shape above. So here, I'm gonna go and take off about, say like right here. And notice how the hair sticks out. See, it's not too heavy. Now I'm just gonna connect that all the way down. And remember, guys, I'm pulling it like parallel to the head shape. So I'm literally pulling it out like this. And when I move down here, I'm making it comfortable for myself to grab the hair and be able to cut it by not being in an uncomfortable position, bending my body like this. I'm gonna stand right in front of it, holding my comb right in the middle for maximum control. I'm just gonna go over the hair, combing it down, seeing the shortest point, and cutting. And I'm not really gonna worry about too much of the length that I cut down here because it's all gonna be tapered with the clipper. So now once I have this guideline here, I'm gonna split this in half and I'm gonna follow a round shape vertically, horizontally, till I reach here. Just gonna get the hair a little more wet. This hair does get pretty dried up quick. So, as you can see, guys, here, I'm gonna split that section that I just cut. And I'm gonna move over about another, say like half an inch. Again, don't make these sections way too big because then it's gonna be hard for you to manage all that hair and for you to find your guideline. So notice literally with my comb, I'll scoop in there. I'll scoop the hair up from both sides. And you'll clearly see the hair that I cut previously. So I'll go ahead and cut that. I'll follow, put your head down a little bit. And don't be afraid to move your client's head to make it comfortable for you to cut. Scoop the hair down from here and grab it as many times as you guys can. Like it's important to, make sure that everything is nice and organized. You don't want to rush anything. Take your time with this and eventually you get the hang of it. So now again, I'm gonna split that section in half, move everything over. I'm gonna go about another half inch.
Someone said, "What's the average time should you take on a haircut like this?"
So when I was first learning this, it took me a while to really grasp like how to use the comb, where to stand to cut. And I was overthinking it a lot because I thought, damn, like should I section this way? Should I section that way? All in all, from a lot of the classes and people that I've been taught, like it's really just about what works for you. And at times, you don't really need to do a lot of crazy sectioning. Do what works for you, and ultimately you'll find that for me, it used to take me like an hour. Like it used to take me about an hour just to do the whole scissor stuff. And then when I realized that I was doing too much, I kind of got down to like 20 to 30 minutes, and then the fading another like 15 to 20. So ideally I'll finish a cut in like 45 to an hour.
And guys, just a side note, um, if you guys join our academy, the $49 one, you'll be spotlighted and Los will answer any of your questions that you have right now. So definitely don't sleep on that. I'm answering everyone's questions. If you have any questions, just put them in the chat. I'm getting back to everybody. He said, "Are you cutting the top of the hair also?"
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna be cutting the top. I'm gonna get to that right now. But for now, I'm working on the back. And where I'm standing, guys, I'm literally facing the guide. Like, so I'm moving around. So when I was here, my body was facing here. And as I'm moving around, I'm moving literally in a round shape, but I'm always parallel to the head shape. So this guideline is facing directly right in front of me. And now when I'm grabbing it and cutting it, I'm to the side. I'm in a position that where I'm not uncomfortable. I'm moving my client's head to make sure that, I'm also not forcing my body to be in an uncomfortable position. And once I get down here, I'll switch to grabbing the hair in this way. I'm not really worried about the hair under because I'm going to go over it with the clipper. And then again, guys, pretty simple. You're just splitting that section in half and moving over until you reach over here behind the ear to your head a little bit.
Zohair asks, when sectioning the hair, are there different ways to section it depending on the haircut, or should we follow Los's technique for the most part?
So there's not really any there's so many ways you can go about sectioning, right? But ultimately it's what's going to be best for you and what makes sense for you. Um, if you when you break down this haircut and you understand the shapes and the way the hair is supposed to fall and everything, just understanding vertical sections and horizontal sections is literally all you really need to know. And you don't always have to be so like like robotic with it. At times there's like when you understand shape and when you understand like just the basic fundamentals, there's so many different ways that you can just section hair, whatever works for you. It's the same way with fading. It's you're not gonna there's not a set method that you use. You can use different techniques, you can use different guards in certain areas and whatnot, but you just gotta do what works for you, man. So now I'm gonna move on to this side. I'm gonna grab this
I agree,
hair.
Los. I think everything comes down to preference. Like for certain
Yeah,
people, certain ways to
yeah,
section works better.
yeah, for sure. I agree.
Joshua, yup, he's pretty much cutting it. He's point cutting it. So it's already textured. He's not gonna have to go back. It's already he's cutting it at a staggered length, but it's pretty much all even.
I'm trying to like move around so you guys could also see. Um, but yeah, basically it's pretty this is pretty simple what I did. Vertical sections like this, and I'm elevating the hair parallel to the head shape. So I'm literally sticking the hair out in the shape of the head. So directly out, and I'm moving in a circle in a round shape like this horizontally. And now just a quick tip for reference, guys. If I did want something heavier here, if I didn't want his hair to poof up too much here, I'd obviously be working with something a little more heavy. So rather than lifting the hair up at a high elevation, because higher elevation obviously takes off more weight, I'd be working with something more low. So um, I'd be basically trying to reserve as much weight and length as possible to have more weight here. But that's not my goal here, so that's why I'm lifting the hair up. So right here, I pretty much already cut. So I'm gonna move a little more to this way, this side, moving my body so that I could see where I cut previously. Tear your head down a little bit. Look down. Okay. Now I'm gonna split that section. And I'm almost over here behind the ear. I can see my previous guide. Your head. Nice. Okay, cool. I'm gonna split that section now. And here, for example, like I'm not gonna split, like this is enough hair for me to just grab. And you can see that previous cutting line right there. And that's what I'm gonna cut. Clear it a little bit. Still see the cut on the cutting line under. There's not really much hair to cut here. That's it. So now once I have my whole shape in the back, I'm gonna be moving to the front. Comb everything down.
Yeah, his hair is really thick, bro.
Yeah. So while I'm moving to the front, I'm gonna be setting the bangs or the fringe area. And pretty much the bangs are gonna decide the overall top length and how pretty much the hairstyle will flow forward. So I'm just gonna comb down everything forward, move the camera a little bit, look up a little bit. Nice. So what I'm looking at here is I'm seeing where his hooks are naturally and where I'm gonna be lining them up. Ideally, when I do a blowout taper or some kind of crop where they want to have most of their corners a bit uh hidden behind the hair. I like to typically land the bangs to that level of where the C cups are. So looking at his length here, I don't have to take too much off, probably about half an inch to an inch. And from there, I'm going to be taking that length all the way to the back. So I'm going to connect the back to the front using a vertical section with what I cut in the front and connecting that to the back. So since I don't want something too straight, I'm going to go ahead and be using my feather razor. So your head up a little bit. And here what I'm going to do is just make sure the hair is combed down. Close your eyes real quick. So one thing is if I wanted to cut more higher up, I don't really need to grab his hair much. I can use my comb and do this and cut using my feather razor. But since where I want to cut, it's close to his eyebrows, I don't want to risk, sliding my feather razor and taking off his eyebrows. So what I like to do is I like to go under with my comb, grab a section, pull the hair with some good tension, and decide how much I'm going to take off and just slightly swipe, swipe. And then I'm going to move to one side and do the same thing. And I'm thinking about where I'm leveling it out again, guys. I want to level it out to where his C cups are. To your head a little bit like this.
So Alan and Danny want to know if it has to be with a feather razor.
It doesn't have to be. You can also point cut. You can also, but the reason why I'm doing it with the feather razor is because I don't want to create something too straight. I want something textured. You can do it with scissors too by point cutting like this. It'll also kind of give you the same effect, but I just like doing it with the feather razor to add a bit more of a textured look. It's all preference, guys. So you can even do it with your clipper if you wanted to.
I've seen it.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Also, when doing it with this, I like to just lightly take off some weight where I feel like it's too heavy. Think of just like making the hair light enough to be able to lift up. Because when the hair's too heavy, obviously it's not going to be able to lift up. And the whole purpose of the blowout is to have a nice poofy look. So now that I'm happy with that, again, guys, what I told you guys I'm gonna do is create a section right through the middle, like this. And now the length that I have here in the front, I'm gonna be connecting it to this length in the back. And I'm moving, guys, in a round shape. So I'm going round. I'm gonna pull the hair straight up, parallel to the head shape. And the head is round, so that's why I'm lifting it up in a round shape. Okay, cool. Just gonna move the camera a little bit, tilt it up a little bit. Cool. So I'm gonna scoop the hair up here. And just to save time too, I will also want to add texture. So I'm gonna be point cutting. Actually, let me get a better angle here. So when I'm point cutting, I want to make sure that I leave enough room between the hair and my fingers so I don't risk cutting my fingers. So then I'll just go like this, grab the previous section right here, and point cut. And I'm moving towards the front and point cutting. And then here, notice how I'm lifting the hair parallel to the head shape, just connecting it to that length there. Notice, guys, the hair is already kind of short enough and it's poofing up nicely. So when we add product, that's what's gonna really bring it out,
GMB
especially here.
using his thinning shears for point
What's
cutting.
up?
Using
What's
his
up?
shears.
You said what?
Jim thought you were using your thinning shears for point guard.
Oh, no, 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 no. You can. You can actually.
Be hard, yeah, it'll be hard.
You'd have to keep snipping. So now once I've set my top guideline over there in the on the top, I'm gonna just move on to the sides really quick, and I'm gonna show you why. I'm gonna get the hair nice and wet. Okay, so I'm gonna move the camera back a little bit so you guys can see everything down. So now I'm gonna be connecting the back to the sides here. So I need the sides to flow naturally into the back, but also into where I'm gonna be creating the taper. So how I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna take that section, how I did when I separated the back from everything else, and now I'm gonna separate the side from the top here. And what I'm gonna do is just create a section right where the head begins to round. So if you were to take your comb and you were to just put it like this, you start seeing where the head begins to round. That's where I'm gonna create my section. And again, guys, good tension. You always want to separate the hair nicely so you have a nice, clean workspace. So now the sides are separated from the top. And here's how I'm going to connect the back to the sides, guys. Pretty simple. I'm going to create that section that I created earlier. And now what I'm going to do is transfer this length onto the sides using a vertical section. So I'm going to take this, take a little section from the back, and connect it a little more towards the front of the sides. And notice, guys, just so you guys could see a little better, I could see the shape that I cut previously right there. So that's what I'm going to cut. I'm going to go down vertically and cut. I'm going to do one more section here. I'm going to split that section that I just cut. And I'm going to move more towards the front here. I'm going to do the same thing. You'll see, guys, that's where I cut previously. And this is what I need to cut. So I'll do it again here, going down. Now, this is where I will use a little bit of what they call forward graduation. Basically, I want to cut shorter towards the temple here, where I'm going to be creating the taper. But I also want to build weight towards the top here. How I'm going to do that, I'm just going to create a section over here where I cut to separate the back. And this whole area right here is what I'm going to use to work with. So what I'm going to do, tilt your head like this. I'm going to comb the hair a little bit like this, where I want a section. When I comb the hair like this in the direction that I want a section, it makes it so much easier for me to stay organized, and I don't have hair moving all over the place. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start low over here, right by the above the ear, and what I'm gonna do here, guys, is just grab the length that I cut from this vertical section here, and you'll notice as I want to put my fingers closer to the scalp as I'm going towards the temple area because this is where I want to cut the hair shorter and I want to build more length towards the back and then towards the top. So in other words, I'm pivoting my fingers inward like this. And you'll see over here, this is where the length is from that previous section that I cut, and I'm just going to connect that like this. And as I get closer into the temple area, my fingers are literally on the scalp. This will make it easier for me to, so when I go in with my clipper, the clipper, the size of the guard that I use is going to make it so much easier to flow into the bulk. So what I'm going to do is move up again in a diagonal section like this. I'm going to pick up the hair here like this, grabbing the length from the previous section here. I'm going to cut like this as I'm moving closer to the temple. My fingers are pretty much on the scalp. Now, here, since the head is beginning to round here, I have to now lower the hair here down to the previous section, lower it a little bit downward. Why? Because I want to build a little bit of weight towards the top. And what I need to do for that is I need to elevate the hair down a little bit to preserve that length, to save a little bit of length so I can have that buildup. Because if I were to just elevate the hair a little higher up like this, the hair is going to come out a little too short. So what I'm going to do here is elevate it to the previous section that I cut a little lower like this, and I can see my guideline nice and clear. And now as I move to the side of the head, I can now just switch the way I elevate the hair a little more higher because I'm dealing with length here. Over here, I'm dealing with the elevation part of like me wanting to save some length here so I don't cut too much and it's not too short. So overall, think of it like you're basically getting like this. You want an outcome like this, where it's shorter here and you want more length towards the top. So then here, I'm just gonna keep doing this. And since the hair here is in an area where it wants to round, I'm lowering it down to the previous section. And you'll see, guys, look at that. You'll get your guideline nice and clear. And now here, I'll just pick up some of this leftover hair and connect that length to the previous section down below. And now if you see, guys, it's just a nice little buildup and you have a nice little weight line here to preserve that length here, to have it for styling and to flow into the back and the top. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that on the other side as well. Let me know if you guys have any questions.
So, what do you feel like is the most common mistakes barbers make with when doing that technique you just showed?
I think a common mistake, bro, is that they tend to get their elevation a little wrong, and they end up with a shorter they end up with shorter lengths towards the top, and then they wonder why they don't have enough length to flow. At times, the hair looks pretty short going towards the top. So with like forward graduation, you want to build up the weight a little bit, and some people get the elevation wrong. But it's pretty simple, and I think a lot of people overcomplicate how to connect the back to the sides. Like it's pretty simple when you think about it. It's just like you're connecting the length from the back to the sides using a vertical section. And we already worked with the vertical sections in the back. So think of it, you're just pretty much doing this, right? And here you're pretty much building something going short to long. And why we take the hair from here and lower it is because we want it to be longer. So, and I want there to be some weight here because I don't want it too short. I also want the sides to poof out and give him that nice little blowout look. Because if I were to grab some of the hair here where the head begins to round and I just elevate it like this, the hair's gonna come out way too short. And I'm gonna have a way too of a flat shape here, and there's not gonna be any kind of movement, no flow. I'm not gonna have enough hair to do anything to make it look nice. So again, I'm gonna grab the vertical section from here and pretty much put these two together. And you guys could literally see right there where my section is. Boom. So that's what I'm gonna do. Just cut. Tear your head down. Connect this. I'm gonna split this section in half. And now from here I could also just do the forward graduation. So again, I'll start low, a little bit above the ear here. And I'll grab the shortest length from here. And now since I'm on the other side, my knuckles are against the scalp. I don't know if you guys could see that. Ken, is that a good view?
Yep, you can turn your camera a little bit towards the
Yeah,
right.
that was right. Okay, let me see.
Yep, better.
Yep. Okay, cool. Perfect. So now I'm gonna go ahead and scoop. Now my knuckles are against the scalp here, and my fingers are pivoted outward. But I'm grabbing the length from here, where I cut here, and I'm just gonna cut that. And it's getting shorter as I move towards the temple. Now here, my elevation could still be pretty high up since I'm not where the head's beginning to round. So now that I'm taking hair from over here where the head's rounding, I want it to travel further. So by doing that, I'm gonna grab it and lower it just a little bit like this, and I'll cut my previous guide. Now as the head begins to become flat, now I could just tilt it up a little bit more. I'm working with like diagonal sections here. Again, since the hair up here is where it wants to round, I'm bringing it down to the previous section. You'll see it nice and clear.
Paris said, "How long did it take for you to master the scissor work?"
Whew. It took me a few months. And honestly, if I were to go back and learn again, it's really just understanding the fundamentals, like what I'm talking about right now, elevation. Like that stuff I did not understand when I was doing it. And now that I really understand what it is to, where you want to have more length, where you want to have less length, like that type of stuff will really kind of like cut the learning curve for you. Because going straight into it and hearing all these crazy terms, it's like, damn, like you get overwhelmed and you're like, fuck, this is too hard for me. Like I don't understand this, and it could burn you out. You could feel unmotivated to really keep doing it. So I think definitely go back into the basics, just learn elevation. We have all of those videos in our academy, like everything from elevation, over directing, all that stuff, all the basic stuff, knowing the shapes, knowing how to hold your comb, and just repetition too. I would take mannequins and I would do it when I would be like, you know what, I need to get this shit down. Ideally, it took me probably like in a span of a year to really fully understand everything. Um, but yeah, it could take some time. So now that I have the sides pretty much cut and the back pretty much cut, it just leaves me with the top now. So why I did it the way I did it, I'm gonna show you guys right now. I'm gonna move this tripod just a little higher for you guys, so you guys can see. Now from the crown here, just gonna create like a little guideline for me as a reference. And here, all I'm gonna do is connect that middle section that I created with the length from the sides here. And again, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna create something round. So all I'm gonna do is just create a horizontal section like this, not too thick. And from here, from this, all the way to this, right here is what I'm gonna connect. I don't know if you guys can see right there. There's a short point right there, and there's another short point right there. And that's all I'm gonna connect. And you could point cut this to add texture if you wanted to. And that's all I'm doing. And I'm moving forward like this. I'm just point cutting. I'm gonna connect it to the length over here where the shortest point is. Since I don't want anything too heavy here, you know, I already preserved enough length on the side from doing the graduation there. I can cut around here because again, I want this hair to kind of still be able to poof up. Hopefully you guys can still see that. Let me see.
Yep, right there.
Yeah. And my sections are pretty much like a like half an inch thick. A little bit. Now, one thing to mention here, as I'm getting closer to the head, I'm gonna create a section a little round like this. And here I'm kind of just combing the hairs down to see if he has enough hair here. Because at times what I'll do is I'll stop myself from cutting some of these hairs here. That will make the fringe a little more full. And what I'll do is I'll section round like this, since the head is round. Now this is the only hair that I'll cut. And I'm gonna be preserving all of this here in the front because I already cut that. But for the purpose of making the fringe look fuller here and not cutting those hairs, I'm gonna keep it.
That was $1 million gem, guys. Like
So
straight up.
so now I'm gonna move on to the other side. Do the same exact thing. You don't really have to overcomplicate this. I'm like standing in a weird position, but it's just so I could show you guys. And you guys could see this. Again, you don't want to be too messy with this here. See, like my section is nice and clean still. As I move towards the front, that's when I'll create that round section. But again, because I want to preserve that corner and understanding how a lineup grows in the front, it's kind of like a U shape. So that's why I do that U shaped section in the front. Your head a little forward. So now I'm gonna create that U shape here. I'm gonna make sure those hairs in the front. If I'm getting rid of too many hairs in the front, I'll go back a little bit until I'm satisfied, till I feel like there's enough hair still there, and that's where I'm gonna leave it off. So this will be my last bit of hair that I'm gonna cut off from the top, and there we go. So now what I'm gonna do is here in the crown, I'm just gonna double check. This is where it's like, oh, like it's pretty messy the way you're grabbing it. Well, we're just cutting a round shape here, making sure we cut off any ends. It's just a way to like kind of like double check your work, cross checking. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and apply some sea salt spray. My sea salt spray is a little the pump broke, but I'm just putting a little bit of on my hand, a few droplets, and just spreading it across his hair. And his hair is a little damp. It's pretty wet.
What does sea salt spray really do to the hair, bro?
It's gonna make it nice and it's gonna bring out the volume on it. It's gonna create a good amount of texture. Um, it's gonna just really bring the hair, the shape alive. One thing that I like to do to maximize that texture is I'm also gonna be applying a bit of matte clay. So you can use any other matte, any other kind of cement clay. But what I like to do is I'll put a little bit on my hand here. I'm gonna add a little more.
So Samuel asks, would you still use sea salt spray if the client has curly hair? I think it depends. Probably not. I would go more with a cream, but don't be afraid to cocktail products. So if your client, I don't know, wants a more beachy look, then yeah, sea salt. I mean, if your hair is curly naturally, the client's hair is curly naturally, sea salt spray won't like disrupt that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. So this is just to maximize the texture. Now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my blow dryer with the diffuser and I'm gonna set it to like medium heat and medium speed. Actually, high heat, medium speed, or low speed. And here I'm trying to get the hair to poof up. So I'm kind of putting it up a little bit.
So JRT asks, what would you guys use for curly hair to bring out the curls? I'd say either cream or mousse. Mousse kind of gives it a crunchier look, but it can give it more volume. Cream gives it more definition. It really just depends what you use. I prefer cream, but mousse is like dope for like wavy hair too. Best ways to cut curls, RG. Los just made a video on that in our academy on my hair actually. He did my haircut. Basically, I mean, I could tell you how he did it. He pretty much doesn't hold the hair so tight, curly hair. It's better to cut it looser, bro. So don't pull it all the way up like straight hair. Kind of let it bounce a bit, let it be a little loose, and then cut it. That way you see kind of where the curl's gonna bend. Los taught me that.
I'm kind of just scrunching the hair in the direction that I want it, and I'm blowing it in the direction I want it to flow as well. My hair is very thick, so it's taking a while to dry out a little bit, but I'm gonna dry it out completely. So I know what I'm cutting into. And the back is really popping out nicely. Move over here. Here, right a little bit like that.
Do the wall vapors heat up fast, bro?
Which ones?
The wall vapors?
The clippers?
Yeah.
They're fire. I like them.
Which texturizing shears do you recommend? How many teeth?
Who?
Which texturizing shears do you recommend? How many teeth?
I think it's the one that has 30 something. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't really pay attention to that, bro. I think it's just more of like preference. And as long as they can cut.
I agree.
One thing I don't like is like thinning shears that have too much of a thicker like tip.
They're asking which shears you use. What brand?
I think they're damn, I don't even they're like 20 bucks off on Amazon. I have to look at it again. But I'm just going back here in the front and I see there's a little too much weight here. So what I'm gonna do is with my feather razor, just go over the heavy part and kind of just scrape it lightly. Just to take off a little bit of weight. If it's like a certain strand, I'll kind of just grab it like this and I'll point it in like this and I'll just kind of like scrape it a little bit. Nothing crazy.
Gems.
But it's just to bring out a nice little fringe out, make it poofy, all while kind of hiding his corners. And he does like more of a drier look. So that's why, I'm using everything like matte product. But I'll show you guys if you were to add if you were to have like someone that wants a little shine to it. Um, I mean you could just use a little bit of like a pomade and add it on top. That's the whole, purpose of cocktailing products, just so you can get a combination of both effects. Okay, nice. So once I'm satisfied with it, I'll go on and start cutting up the taper. The shape is dope. Then I'll show you guys how I'm gonna finalize it to really bring out more of a poof, more of the texture. Because his hair is still pretty thick, but I'm gonna do it after I'm done with the taper. Yep. Nice. So you see guys, the bangs here kind of fall into where the C cup is gonna be at, or the hooks. So now this is where I'm gonna show you an ideal situation where it's like, okay, like I have so many people waiting for me. I'm kind of backed up, and I don't want to really rush them too much, but it's like I still want a clean taper without taking too much time, obviously without sacrificing the quality. So one thing I like to do is just have this open and I'll kind of just flick right into it. As I'm as I'm here on the lower part of the taper, I have the angle of my clipper is a little more flat, right? But now as I get higher up here, my clippers just the angle of it is more outward.
Yep, that's a taper blade, right, Los?
Yep.
So the taper blade has sort of like a curve to it, and the fade blade is straight up. So you could do this with a fade blade. It'll be very hard though, very risky because they cut shorter and there's
Yeah.
less error.
You guys, we can't don't overcomplicate it. You know, there's don't get overwhelmed. There's so many different ways of fading, but really find what works best for you. And here, this is where I'll just literally go over it with the thinning shears and just spaz. A lot of you be hitting me up and ask me like, bro, how do you? Because I noticed some hairs stick out or whatever. Well, you're not closing the shears enough. You see how many times I'm closing it, I'm opening and closing. You have to keep opening and closing, or else you don't get those longer hairs. Here, I'll just point cut a little bit, and I'm really just taking out the heavy areas and blending it into the top bulk. Think of it like after so many opens and closes, it's gonna cut like normal shears. That's basically what it does. And again, I can be here for like 30 minutes just straight detailing the hell out of this taper, right? But really think about it and be kind of realistic with yourself. It's like, all right, you know what? Like to a client, the taper priority looks amazing, right? But then it can be the point where it's like you're probably overthinking it because you're comparing yourself to other tapers you see on social media and shit. You're like, damn, bro, it's just so clean. But it's like the fade can only be so perfect. So don't overthink it too much. I just like to personally make my tapers kind of like soft. What I mean by soft is like the baldness is pretty low and the fade is pretty stretched out. And something you guys are probably not seeing is like I'm literally looking through the camera right now just to kind of see where some dark spots may be.
Danny said, "Is this a low taper?"
More like a mid, a little bit of a mid mixed low. Again, I like something soft, you know, I'm not really trying to make it fly up. But now I'm gonna clean up his C cups a little bit to your head. Just gonna grab these hairs here. I'll start at the top and I'll go on the bottom here and just connect both points.
Crispy. Drop a fire emoji in the chat, y'all. Roger asks, "How do you get the smaller hairs into your thinning shears?" I think because he lifts it up with the thin side of the comb.
Oh yeah, yeah. With the smaller parts, yeah, you gotta um over time you'll get the hang of it, bro. You'll start to become a little more comfortable with your thinning shears. Like I can literally go in and do this, bro. To some of you, it might look scary, or you might be like, "Damn, bro, you can cut the skin off." But it's just something that with repetition, bro, and with practice, you eventually realize, okay, well, the skin's on top of here. You can't really cut yourself. Like the shears are on top, like the teeth are on top here, and the blades underneath in a way. So you can only cut the top of the scissors right here. And this is just to like detail stuff, you know? But again, don't overcomplicate it. This is just with me, I really value detailing a lot. So, I'll go in and detail the taper, but for right now, this is something like more like a softer look I'm trying to do. I'm gonna show you guys in the back. I mean, on the sides how I would do it. On the other side, how I would go with doing it with guards, because I know a lot of people still can't freehand as much. Yeah, and I'd pretty much just go over with the trimmer here. And this is just me kind of detailing a little bit still. I like just something a little more natural with these kind of cuts. But you can also add enhancements. You can, then go ahead and finish it off with the white pencil. You can make it look, you know, however you want. But I think people that go above and beyond and do that stuff are is good, especially when you're presenting your work out there. I think Ken can elaborate a little bit on that, on the importance of that.
What clipper are you using as well, Danny?
This is a Wall Street art. It's basically a black magic clip, but I put on the cover. Um, I put on the cover of the street art.
Yep,
But
Denning
yeah,
sheets are
guys.
perfect for detailing. Perfect.
But yeah, guys, that's pretty much, you know, that's like without no guards, just thinning shears and a clipper. You can get that done in like as like 5 to 10 minutes. Don't spend too much time detailing. But let me show you the other way that I do it with the guards. So typically, like finger length here would be like a 3. So I'm gonna grab a number 3 guard with the lever closed, and all I'm gonna do here, just make sure I comb this area down. Using my 3, I could still see kind of like the weight line where I went with that I created with my scissors. That's where I'm gonna, as I hit that weight line, that's where I'm flicking out.
So guys, if you're a beginner, I would even go and use the four just to be safe.
Yeah, even a 4 or a 5, just to be safe. And then you keep going down and down, and you see, okay, you know what? This number works great. So now, next time you do the same kind of haircut, or you're gonna do, same haircut on another client, you're aware of that now, and you're like, okay, I know, it's a 3 would work here, a 4 would work here. And as you study also like different hair textures, you'll get the hang of it. Yeah, this is dope.
If your clippers are getting stuck, Danny, they need oil, I think. There's no reason why they should be getting stuck.
So
Oil.
then what I would do here is I'd get the 1.5, and I'd go a little bit directly under that 3. Then I'd open it and just kind of just flick into that a little bit more. I'm not really cutting much. Going back to the 1.5 closed, I'm opening it as I'm going up. And this is just to get the lower part of the fade here shorter. Then with the half guard close, I'm gonna go a little bit under that 1.5. and then I'm opening it and then flicking into that 1.5 and just connecting that without even using a two guard, without using a one guard. And again, guys, like you can literally like with the half guard, you can literally cut more inward, cut more outward, and it's like you'll obviously cut less with the angle like this. You'll cut more the more you aim your clipper towards the skin. And then here's where I'll, with the thinning shears, I'll just go in detail. I'll remove a little bit of this bulk line here and fade it into the top. Again, guys, there's a reason why these are called blending shears too. Make sure you be careful around here, around the ear. I'm sure y'all seen that video where the guy chopped that guy's ear
Yo,
off.
that's me when I
You
cut those.
know? Yeah, you want to be very careful. That's why you want to use your comb as like a guard. But yeah, just for the sake of, time and everything, I'm not going to be detailing too crazy here, but just so you guys can get a gist of how I fade into the bulk. Um, the way I do it freehanding and the way I do it with guards. But overall, I hope you guys are getting some game still from this. Taking some weight off here. And his hair here does grow a little different, and that's just something that you also have to once you get recurring clients, you get certain features that you start noticing about their hair. And you're like, oh, okay, so maybe the way I approach that, I gotta be a little more different when it comes to cutting it with a clipper, cutting it with scissors. Like,
Learn from every client, guys, every haircut.
nope. Any other questions right now?
Would you use the fine side of the comb?
What do you mean fine side? Like, oh, I
Yeah.
mean, this is a pretty, it's thin all throughout the comb. I just like to use a little small one for smaller parts just to protect it from. Even though I could do this, but it's also so I don't cut anything,
Hmm.
underneath.
Roger
I'm
said
only,
two guard.
you said what?
Roger said, why no two guard?
There's no need for me to use it. I mean, you saw the other side. I didn't use any of the guards either. And it's just something to save time. I think the importance is like knowing how to use techniques like scissor over comb or clipper over comb. That'll save you so much time while giving you the same quality. Don't get too caught up in not knowing like, oh damn, I don't know what guard to use. Like that stuff will overwhelm you very, very quickly. But yep. I could sit here and detail this like forever, you know?
Danny,
But
are you tapering the back too?
yep, I'm gonna taper the back right now just to show you guys. Or I mean I could keep it like this, but that's not the look that we're going for here. I'll mark the top and then I'll mark the sides. I'll get rid of this. Kind of decide how soft or how hard my fade's gonna be.
Is your clipper zero gapped? They asked.
No, I don't zero gap any of my clippers. I just use them how they are straight out the box. Again, guys, when making content, you one thing to look at is your phone when you're recording, keep checking your haircut through the phone. You tend to see a lot of things that you might not see with your eyes. And again, I could detail this way more, make it look more Photoshop. But again, ideally, if you're in a situation where you have people waiting for you and you're limited on time, someone came in late or whatever, whatnot, the cut can only be so perfect. But as long as the client's happy. Yeah, shape's nice. Probably
Go.
take a little more weight off right here. But even then, like his hair is really straight, but you'll see with a little bit of powder too that I'll add at the end, it'll definitely bring out that shape more and make it look a little more textured. So now with the back, same thing, guys. Look down, bro. Nice. Okay, right. I'll probably keep it like right there. All the back is still wet. Let me just dry this up a little bit. The back is still a little wet. I'm gonna grab the number three, closed, and I could see where I kind of cut, right? I started like I stopped like right here in this section. Depending on how high you want to go, I'm kind of aiming for a mid-low. So I'm flicking out where that shorter length is at. And this is just personal preference. The tapers that I like to create are more of like a U shape this way. So I'll kind of like raise it up towards this. I know some of you like to do it this way to keep more of the darkness here, but it's all preference. But again, guys, just going over it with the three here. And I'll go back with the 1.5, slightly under it, open it, and I flick into the three. But when I'm flicking my angle, the clipper's a little more outward like this. Like I'm more outward like this. Not too close into the skin. So I'm more like this, not like this. I'm more like this. I'm saving the other side just to show you guys how even just freehanding you can get something done too. Then the half guard closed. Notice the hair here kind of grows up. Just take that off. I'm not fighting the growth pattern. I'm fighting against the growth pattern a little bit here. I'll open it as I'm going up. It's fully open. I'm flicking into that 1.5 pretty much. Any more questions, Ken?
Jazz wants to see how close your clippers and trimmers are. I was gonna wait till you were finished. Basically, like the blade.
Oh, I mean, I can show you right now.
Yep.
Can you see that? See, they're not really zero gapped.
Yep. There's some
They're like,
gap in there.
yeah, there's a big gap in there. I'll show you my other trimmers too, the A lines.
A- Alan, the best way to get licensed, bro, is either a barber school or an apprenticeship. Now, depending on where you're at in your journey, if you're a beginner, just go to school. Um, if you already know how to cut hair and you're in our school and everything, I'd say do an apprenticeship if you can. Both of them cost. Um, I'm gonna be honest, a license isn't like completely necessary anymore. I don't think it's gonna be that necessary. What do you think, Los? Like in the
Yeah,
near
I don't. I
future?
think they're already cutting down hours, like requirements to get licensed.
Yeah.
I think it's just gonna be more of like, here, pay this much and you're good to go. That's gonna
Bro,
be
that's what I
dope.
did. No cap.
That's gonna be dope. All right, guys, I'm gonna just
Yeah.
show you another quick way to like start up the fade if you're like kind of short on time while still being effective. So literally, I'll grab my comb, just take that off, take out a little bit here where I cut the shortest point here, and just take all this off. And I'll literally just don't overcomplicate this, guys. Like I'm telling you, this is why like learning these kind of techniques is much easier, and it'll save you so much more time on your haircuts rather than trying to figure out like, oh, this method, that method, this method, that method. But this takes practice, like just be patient with yourself. But grab what works for you and stick to it. I still kind of want this keep some hair here to have that nice shape in the back. So I don't want to go too high. But notice guys here, like his hair grows up really high. Let's take that off. Goes from low to high here. I meant from the bottom to the top. I like creating something soft, not too crazy. And another tip with the thinning shears, so like let's say you're already liking how your fade looks and you're a little afraid to take the fade up a little higher. This is where this is where with the thinning shears you can really just play it safe. Like little by little, just work your way up and get rid of the darkness. And little by little just check, okay, perfect. Let me keep going. You're literally controlling the darkness of your fade with the thinning shears by eating out that darkness. I don't know. There's like another way I'd put. There's no other way I'd put it. Pretty much, that's what you're doing. You're eating it out with your thinning shears. Careful, guys. Here, like here, when you're here, when you open your scissors here, be mindful of this. One thing I like to do is I like to kind of like with the finger put the ear back and then I work. so you don't risk taking a piece of their ear off. And this, like this too, you can take off the whole weight and just create a nice little blend up to this part here. Again, I'm not going to take too much time detailing this, but it's just to show you guys the fundamentals of like, okay, I don't really need too crazy. I don't need to get all overwhelmed with the guard stuff. I don't need to go all crazy with like it's just basic stuff you need to learn, like clipper over comb, how to use your thinning shears. This is the stuff that really helped me how to fade better. And are there any questions, bro?
I'm answering them in the chat. We're talking about barber school, the hours, the price.
Nice.
RG said he paid 18K for barber school.
Holy shit.
Another one said it was 21K in Michigan. So I'm just
No
chopping it up with them right now.
way. Damn, bro.
It's crazy, bro.
That's insane. That's actually a scam.
Danny, difference between fade blade, fade blade cut shorter. Whoa, someone said theirs was 30K.
Nah, where
Yo,
the fuck were y'all at? What location is this, bro?
yo.
That's too much. What the fuck?
Jersey, I'm in Philly. I paid like probably like 1,000 for my license, like straight up. I probably paid 1,000.
Holy smokes.
He said I cut you. Who is this, bro? It doesn't say your name. It says Zoom user. Jason. Last name?
Yo, there's a barber that cut
Jason
you up.
Clark. Oh yeah, Jason. Dang. Sheesh. What year was this,
Yo.
bro? Sheesh. Oh, because you went to the Cosmo one that you were telling me about.
Oh, that makes so much
Yeah,
sense.
he was telling me about it. Yeah, those ones yeah.
That makes so much sense.
Because they be teaching you everything.
Yeah,
Well,
that makes a lot
supposedly
of
they're supposed
sense.
to.
Hmm. Just looking at to the phone. My lighting's a little too bright over here. But overall, guys, I mean, you kind of saw the like how I fade into it. Don't overcomplicate it.
I think anyone in school or going to school or planning to go to school in the future should be in our academy because you guys will see a lot of stuff you should be learning in school, you won't. And then it's like, dang, I paid all this money for what? Just a license, which I guess is worth it. But at that point, like, nah. So our goal is to teach more than barber school, which I truly believe we do. So if you're in barber school, about to go to barber school, or even if you out of barber school,
I'm gonna tighten up the fade a little more. I'll be using the half guard here.
Matthew said, will the membership prices go up? Yeah, eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to definitely raise it up eventually, bro. You have a lot of value in there, bro. Tons of value.
We're actually about to completely update it this week. So we're adding, how many new videos are we adding, Los? Because we didn't even
Bro,
release them.
it's a lot.
At least like 50 or 60 new
Yeah,
videos.
it's a lot of videos, bro.
But what we're doing, guys, is we're structuring it so it's a program. It's kind of like going to be like barber school, but for business as a barber. So like think week one, you do this, week two, you do this. Okay, set up your IG. We're gonna work on your tracking, like all that stuff. We're gonna work step by step with you guys instead of just giving you guys, videos, you know. So that's our goal. RG, we have a study guide, bro, in our academy. I made a study guide for barber students trying to pass their theory test. It goes over the 14 shaving strokes, color theory, barber laws that are kind of standard for every state. But look up your state's laws and then, you can kind of figure it out because it's different in each state. I'm in PA.
Down low, like this.
Laws
Nice.
are a bit different than California and all that. Um, but yeah, Los is in Oregon, David's in California. So we got some knowledge. And then Ivan, he's in Texas and he has a license in Kansas. So that's like 5, 6 states. Yep, I'll put her on the chat right now, guys, for you guys to join.
Yeah, bro, it's crazy to me, bro. Like if back in the day, if I knew that there was a program like the one we have, bro, I wouldn't even think twice, bro.
Yep,
And it's literally only $50.
no
It's
brainer.
insane, bro. No brainer, bro.
I think people get. I had a conversation with a student, um, and I'm able to share this with you guys. I don't care, but basically, you know, I was telling him like, "Yo, you got to join." He's like, "Yeah, yeah," but the $50, like, it just, I don't know. It wasn't that even that he was scared, but he felt as though something of value can't be that cheap. He was skeptical. So he
Oh,
ended up
no
paying for the
way.
year. He paid 500 for the year.
Let's go. Yeah, because then there's a sense of like, damn, a little sense of like, I have to
Exactly.
take it serious because I put some money in there. I had a conversation too with some other student where he was like, um, why didn't you just make it free or whatever? Like, why don't you guys teach this stuff for free or whatever? It's like because even if we did put it out for free, bro, you wouldn't put in the effort. Where it's like if you have a little bit of like, okay, I put some money into this, like it's a level of seriousness where like, okay, you know what, I have money into this. It's
Yep.
like, bro, dumping thousands of money into barber school, bro. You have to. You're
Yep.
gonna take it serious. You're gonna have to do it. Otherwise, it'd be a waste of money. So now, guys, I'm gonna line up here behind the ear. I want to make sure I keep this nice and natural. I don't want to go too crazy. Now, here behind the ear, at times you'll still have a lot of hair. You could just go over it with your trimmer, or you can even go into it with your scissors a little bit. Don't overcomplicate this stuff. Just as long as it looks good afterwards. I'm pretty much using like my trimmer like a pencil here, like just literally in the shape that I want it. And I'm going back and forth, so the trimmer can I can make sure that I get every little hair.
Crispy.
Pull the ear back and connect that shape right into the hook.
Go for it, Birdie. I'm just quoting Los right now.
I'm dead.
You.
And then I like to just kind of like lightly flick here under just to make sure I get all the hairs under there. But yeah, guys, we pretty much have the overall shape of the cut. I mean, I'll lightly go over it with the shaver here just to kind of choose how high I want the baldness to be. Um, that's something that I like to go over with, at the end. For me, it's just like a little detailing thing that I like to do. Um, again, because I like the appearance of a softer fade where it's like it's more stretched and the baldness of it is very low. It's not so high up. And that's just personal preference. And I noticed that, when I'm making videos on them, like those type of haircuts look really nice like on IG. But just to show you guys a little more of like how I would bring out the shape of this haircut. Um, See, like right here, his hair grows back a little bit, so like throw off like the fade. This is just stuff that I'll like tweak up a little bit. When I'm recording, I want to make sure everything looks perfect. I'll like fix up the hair. I'll be like, you know what? I need to take some more weight off here or something. It's just little things I have in mind that I'm looking at when I'm creating content or when I'm cutting.
The goal.
But overall, what I'll do is I'll add a bit of texture powder. And the powder is really what's gonna bring out that more of like that beachy look. Like someone just hit the beach.
Oregon Beach.
Yep. But you see, guys, the importance of like leaving that hair here in the corners. Because if I would have gone more hair here, I wouldn't be able to cover up the corners. And I see a lot of people when they make fringes, this is so exposed and it looks all weird. It just throws it off. So you have these bangs leveled out nicely, leveled out to where his hooks kind of connect. I'll go over here and kind of just touch a few things up at the end. But overall, guys, this is the shape. Any questions, Ken?
Nope. We got Gerardo about to sign up, and we got RG about to sign up.
Yes.
We want you guys to sign up before we end this call, guys, just so we can lock you guys in and we can get you guys onboarded. Let's go.
In all reality, too, bro, like I would probably, when I'm recording content, I'm gonna have this same angle up here for like a good 20 minutes and just detail the hell out of this stuff.
Yep.
But for the sake of you guys, just to show you guys how I do all this, like I think we pretty much have done it, most of it. And if you want to lock all this in place, you just put some hairspray. You can style it however you want. But overall, this is pretty much the whole look. But I mean, overall, guys, I hope this stuff was helpful, man. Like I really we're planning on doing more of these, not just me, but also, so you can get some insight from Ken, Dave, as well, and Ivan. So, we want you guys to tune into this stuff, but for today, we made it mainly for everybody to join, but we're gonna get more exclusive with this stuff, because we like to give a lot of game out, but we also want to give it out to people that show love, part of the community.
Real quick before we end this, guys, just what did you guys take away from today? Just one thing that you guys learned, even if it's something small. Type it in the chat before you dip out.
I feel like this type of stuff, like this is what's. If I was showcasing this, this is like an angle that I would use right here.
Angel
Bring
said you
this
learned
out.
how to section the hair. Nice. Danny said sectioning the hair. What else, guys? Keep corner fringe fuller. Yup. The basics. Yup. The angles. One thing I took
Yeesh.
away was I suck at cutting.
Nah,
Hey, it's
chill, bro.
okay.
Chill. You'll get better at it, bro. It just takes practice, my guy.
Camouflaging the thin fringe, tilting comb a little when sectioning. Yup.
See, this is like little stuff that I'll do when presenting my work. It's like if this is a little dark, just eat it out a little bit, calm it down. Nice.
You know what? Before we leave, I'm gonna play a special video for you guys. This is from our advanced academy. So this is gonna be like
Yeah, I cut at home, bro.
what Los is doing right now. What he's about to do is called a showcase. So this is when you start really like showing off your haircuts, right? So I'm gonna just play a quick video on how to do this.
Close your eyes, bro.
So you guys have to upload your video.
This is gas.
What's going on, you guys? Today, I'm going to be talking about showcasing. Showcasing is the most important part of your whole marketing. If you guys have a shitty haircut, if you guys don't know how to present your haircut, it's going to be really hard for people to book an appointment with you. Honestly, a lot of you guys think that you need a lot of viral videos. You guys just need views and you guys need the likes.
Can you see it?
reality, you guys can get a video
Like this.
viral.
Yes.
You guys won't be able to
Stay
have the
like that.
client. Everybody's going to be dealt different cards. You're going to be working at a studio. You're going to be working from your bedroom, at a barbershop. Just take this as a very foundational video where you guys can take tools from this video, purchase them, and use them accordingly to your own situation. It's really important to maximize the room that you're working with. So if you guys have the opportunity to hang lights up, you guys are working at a salon suite, make sure you guys just take a look at this and try to apply it the best way that you can. So we went ahead and used one of the wall mounts for newer, and then we mounted a box light. I personally suggest that every person needs to have 2 ring lights and proper roof lights. I recommend using the hexagon roof lights for starters. If your barbershop has, if they have others, make sure they're not yellow, make sure they're fluorescent white, and 2 ring lights work. Don't blast them all the way. If you're working at a shop and you don't have a wall in front of you, you're gonna have to use 2 lights on the side. I also recommend using a newer box light that you guys can attach as an add-on to another tripod if you guys have an extra tripod. I also recommend buying a phone attachment with the light that you guys can really adjust, and just having a variety of objects to work at whatever setup you're working with. And you guys just have to mess around with it a little bit and get the best possible showcase that looks as natural as possible. Don't make your haircuts look overly exposed. It does not look good on camera. I've seen a lot of barbers mess up by not taking the time to really adjust their lights, to really move things around and really test things out. If you take 45 to an hour on a cut and you take 2 minutes to take a video, it just doesn't make sense. You're not even putting in 10% of effort into the showcase. So give it about 10 to 15% of the time that you take on a haircut. A lot of the times we execute a cut and it looks amazing in the naked eye, but when you go and take a video, it doesn't look how we see it with our eyes, because you guys have to remember, you guys are shooting with technology. You guys just can't see it with the naked eye.
Just line up the back, you'll be good.
So you guys have to make sure that you guys adjust your lights and you guys move things around to suit it, and so you guys
Still
can
strong,
market everything. If you guys work with windows, use a window and pretend like it's a softbox light. And you guys might have to use a little fill-in light, but use your natural lighting to your advantage, because it's the best lighting. Artificial light will never beat out natural lighting. And you guys just keep showing up, posting your showcases, posting them on your story, and getting feedback within the community, and keep posting these things, guys, because the more adjustments, the more feedback loops that you guys get through time, you guys are going to find those sweet spots at your studio, because nobody can really ever master your setup the way that you know how to do it. We can have all of the videos possible that can demonstrate to you guys how to do it in my setup and it's a salon suite and a barbershop, but still, this is like 20% of it. 20% of it is information. It's basically buying what you guys need and just knowing how to shoot a showcase. 80% of it is going to be you guys actually going to your setup, moving things around, and just putting in the reps, because I can't go in there physically, right? You guys have to be proactive about adjusting your setup. Every single haircut is a new opportunity to refine your showcase. So don't sleep on it. If you have to post it on your story, post it on your story, save all those videos, put them in a phone album where you just label it showcases, keep improving as you go and build that album up, and you guys will be able to go back in time and see, okay, I keep adjusting and things just keep on getting better and better. So for example, number 1, we're using 2 lights right here. The smaller, newer box light that has portable
So this is how you showcase, guys, right here.
batteries, and the bigger box light from the top that's hung on the wall with the wall mount. And the principles stay the same here. We want to just use both lights to create this effect on the showcase. That's just showcasing the side taper and the styling on the top. And now we have the backside angle to show off the side taper and the back taper. And this is the final idea that you guys can get just using those 2 lights. And now we have example number 2. know how to present your end product or showcase, it doesn't matter if it goes viral. Nobody's gonna focus on it. So we got a ring light here. We turned off the roof light at the top, ring light over there, a top box light over there. But essentially, I think he probably only shoots with one ring light and that phone attachment right there.
I have my grid up. On the grid. On the grid, I always want the focal point of the haircut in the center, right? But I also want his chin in the corner and his ear up in this corner of the grid.
You guys have to make sure you guys are shooting in 4K, 30 frames per second to 60 frames. Check out the iPhone settings video. But remember that Instagram can only handle 1080p. So you guys have to upload your videos in 1080. And you guys can see here, we're using everything, all the tools, the handheld iPhone attachment, the box lights at the roof, and the ring lights to get this final result. That wraps up the showcasing video. Buy the equipment, follow the principles here in this video. If you need any help, make sure you guys reach out to the community, reach out to me, Carlos, or Ken, and I'll see you guys on the next video.
Haha, the video was 1.5, guys. Hope that was helpful, guys.
That was some goated fucking advice, bro. But yeah, I mean, this is like straight hair, and look how it looks kind of like messy still, you know? You can still bring out the texture on straight hair, guys.
Go for it, Birdie.
But I think we're wrapped up, Brody. I think that was pretty much it.
Round of applause for Los.
Sheesh.
Unmute your mics, guys. Round of applause for Los.
I'm dead. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Any last comments, thoughts, guys, before we end the call?
What was the name of the product that you used for the dry texture powder?
So, bro, it's here I'm gonna show you all of them really quick. So this is a line that a product line that my one of my buddies from out here, one of a barber, an OG barber from here, but it's basically volume powder, bro. And then I mixed light work from Slick Gorilla. You can
Slick
pretty
Gorilla?
much, yeah, you could pretty much mix any texture powder, bro, with this or the sea salt spray. I use the same one that my
Can you
barber
put-
homie
Can you put that
provided.
powder in wet hair?
No. You want to put this on dry hair, bro. The powder will best work on dry hair. But you can apply the matte clay on wet hair, and when you dry it, it'll give you this like effect. The same effect, bro. That like volumizing, like textured effect. But I like to mix sea salt spray with the clay when the hair is wet, and when I dry it up, I notice it just gives me the nicest like amount of texture when it's dried up. And then to finish it off with even more texture, I'll apply the powder after.
Can you
Thank
get
you very
those?
much.
Yes,
Can you
sir.
get those products on Amazon?
Yeah, bro. They're all on Amazon. Just look up texture powder. Another one that I like to use is Brickles. The brand is called Brickles for sea salt spray. And then the light work is all on Amazon too. Their powder is really good too.
Also, bro, I mean, you were mentioning something about there's videos dropping. Is it based on like a tier system, like how much we communicate in the academy, or is it like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
just dropping tutorials?
Ken can answer that for you, buddy.
So we're kind of switching it, bro. Like before, it was just like you join, you get the videos, you unlock it, whatever. But now we're
Mhm.
switching it to a blueprint. So it's going to be a step-by-step system. So week one, you focus on mindset. You know, the next week or however many weeks it takes you, you focus on haircut foundation, such as this, because you can't start making content if your haircuts suck, right? And then after that,
Yeah.
it's understanding content, learning about content. You don't just start making content, you got to learn it first, understanding it. Week 4, week 5, weeks, all that as a step-by-step system. So our goal is to make it a 16-week program so that in 4 months, you guys are ready, you guys are scaling, you're on your way up to becoming an elite barber, entrepreneur. and then we get you guys an elite. Like that's the goal here.
Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense. Cool, cool.
And here, guys, I added a little bit of like a jelly, or you could add oil, just so you can get rid of that like um that dried up effect, you know, where it might look too ashy or whatever. If you want to avoid that and maybe still keep the volume, but add a little bit of shine, you can add a little bit of I added this stuff, this classic stuff. I like this stuff, but you can add some like this. You could add some pomade, or you can even add a little bit of oil to add a little bit of a shinier effect on their hair.
Also,
Yeah,
bro, you
guys,
had
any other
mentioned that
video?
you don't.
What was
You
that?
also mentioned that your clippers aren't zero gapped. I didn't really
Yeah.
get to see the trimmers and clippers on how gapped they are because
Yeah, bro. So
the
here,
screen froze. Yeah.
here you go, bro. So yeah, look. So if you see, these
Okay,
came
they're
like
pretty
this in
close,
the
but they're not.
box. These are pretty close, but
Okay.
they're not that close, yeah. But this is how they came out of the box, bro.
Okay, so when you set your guideline, you just don't press too hard. That's it.
No, exactly. You want to
Okay,
create
makes sense.
something soft, bro, because ultimately you don't want to make it harder for yourself to you don't want to make it harder for yourself with a hard line, bro. You want to keep everything pretty soft.
Okay, appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Any last thoughts? Any last comments? Oh, let's get it, Kenny. I think we're out.
All right, peace, guys. I'm
Peace,
gonna see
guys.
you guys in the academy.
Thank
Peace.
you, guys.
Thank
Peace.
you.